The parents of Bijan Gaysar held a news conference today. They expressed outrage at a decision by the Virginia Attorney General not to prosecute two U.S. Park police officers in their son's death. The officers shot and killed Bijan Gaysar along the GW Parkway back in 2017. His parents claim politics have kept them from getting justice for their son.
There has not been a day that I have not cried multiple times closing my office door.
When they found out Thursday that the two park police officers who shot and killed Bijan in 2017 won't face charges, they sounded outraged in their statement. Today's decision was a cowardly act by a Department of Justice that is afraid to hold law enforcement, especially federal law enforcement, accountable when it commits murder. They have broken every promise made to us, from keeping us informed about the investigation to personally sharing the results before broadcasting it to the world. The Department of Justice said it could not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the two officers willfully violated the federal criminal civil rights statute when they shot Gaysar.
As far as I see, there's absolutely no justification on earth for killing my brother.
On the night of November 17, 2017, two U.S. Park police officers pursued Bijan Gaysar after he left the scene of a minor traffic accident in Northern Virginia. Gaysar was driving south on the George Washington Memorial Parkway outside Washington when he was rear-ended. Occupants in the second vehicle said Gaysar had stopped, quote, abruptly and then, for some reason, left the scene, which is illegal in Virginia if there's been an injury or property damage. It wasn't long until U.S. Park Police found Gaysar and began to pursue. According to the dashcam footage released by Fairfax County Police, Bijan pulled over 3 times. Each time, Park Police officers attempted to block his path with their own vehicles and approached his Jeep with their weapons drawn and trained on the 25-year-old driver. Now think about that for a second. Drawing your gun on a man who is merely involved in a minor traffic accident. They can't just run the plates, find his home, and take care of the situation in a de-escalated manner. During the first 2 stops, Gaysar slowly maneuvered his vehicle around the officers and their car and drove away. Park police got back into their own SUV and continued the chase. At no point in the video do the park police officers appear to be in danger of being hit by Gaysar's vehicle. The third time Gaysar stops, park police again block his path and 2 officers exit the vehicle aiming their guns at Gaysar. But as his car inches forward, 5 gunshots ring out. After a brief pause, the police fired 4 more times. Apparently, 4 of those shots struck his head. Gaysar was pulled from his vehicle and received medical treatment at the scene before being taken to the hospital, according to Fairfax County Police incident reports, which were released in response to a Freedom of Information Act request by the Gaysar family. They don't ever just release that kind of information of their own free will. There's always some kind of pressure to force them into a situation of transparency.
4.5 years of cover-up, hearings, investigations, evidence, depositions, grand jury, and I'm here standing in front of you fighting my own Virginia Attorney General.
Bijan was unarmed. One officer wrote that Bijan was patted down and nothing was found, while another said no weapons were seen in the vehicle. That officer also said there were no drugs in the car. Now, the family's lawsuit accuses the park police officers of violating the department's vehicular pursuit and use of force policies. According to the vehicular pursuit policy, park police are permitted to pursue someone only if they are suspected of committing a felony offense or if they present a clear and present threat to public safety. But according to the lawsuit, Bijan was the victim and a Fender-Bender that kicked off the entire chase. Their policy also explicitly states that, quote, the act of fleeing and eluding the police shall not in itself be a pursuable offense. But apparently, in the minds of the park police, it is a shootable one. For years, the U.S. Park Police, which is a federal police force under the National Park Services and the Department of the Interior, had yet to name the officers involved in the shooting that led to Geyser's death. The FBI, which was overseeing the investigation, refused to speak publicly about the case or even give an update since it took over. And the Department of Justice at the time didn't give any indication of whether or when the officers involved would face charges. The U.S. Park Police at the time referred all requests for comment to the FBI's field office in Washington, saying, quote, "We are neither able to speculate on elements of this investigation nor release the procedures of any other agency." According to court documents, Geyser's family filed a $25 million civil lawsuit against the U.S. government, claiming wrongful death and the intentional infliction of emotional distress. Subsequent years of investigations following the shooting with few answers provided led the family to call on allies and supporters, including members of Congress, to demonstrate and help where possible. Senators Mark Warner of Virginia and Chuck Grassley of Iowa, among other elected officials, issued multiple joint statements calling on the Injustice Department to reveal more information. After the Injustice Department announced that it would not criminally charge the officers, the senator said in a 2019 statement, quote, "The Geysers deserve to understand what happened to Bijan." 5.5 years later, and after a bunch of foot dragging, the federal government has finally agreed to pay $5 million to the Geyser family.
Out-of-court settlement has been reached in the case of a deadly police shooting we've been following for years now. I'm talking about the shooting of Bijan Geyser, shot and killed by U.S. Park Police officers back in 2017 following a traffic incident along the GW Parkway. Now, for years, the Geyser family sought criminal prosecution against the officers for alleged excessive force. Well, you know this by now. No trial ever came. The family eventually filed a wrongful death lawsuit. And just moments ago, our newsroom got a copy of new court documents, and they show the family has agreed to settle that lawsuit for $5 million. The settlement must now get a judge's approval.
The officers were charged by prosecutors in Fairfax County in 2020 with involuntary manslaughter and reckless discharge of a firearm, but the charges were later ordered dismissed in federal court. The Virginia Attorney General's office declined to pursue the matter further in 2022. U.S. District Judge Claude Hilton on Friday ordered that U.S. agents, servants, and employees are released from liability claims regarding Geyser's death, quote, upon payment of the aforesaid settlement funds. So the U.S. Park Police got away with ending the life of a man involved in a simple Fender-Bender. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. I'll see you in the next video.